as we look at it here, we will start with number 5. But again, if you have not listened thus far, definitely go back, check out the past 4 weeks here as we cover 6 through 25. Number 5. Riley Heidt.
I love Riley.
This is a guy that I think we are all very excited about, and I think, most of the Wild fan base has basically used to justify whatever anger they have towards Charlie Stramel, which we still think is misplaced. Who wants to lead off here, though, on just how much of a fucking stud Riley Heidt is?
I think you should, since you have him the highest.
Sure. I'll lead off. Riley Heidt. This is a guy that, I don't know. I changed my philosophy for ranking throughout this entire process, so I am like very bad to follow. There is no rhyme or reason. Riley Heidt, I see being a guy that could be a first-line player. He is one of very few that I think could project as a first-line player. I don't see him being any worse than a second-line player. And this is a guy that has the most humble confidence in the world. He basically came in and said, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make the Wild this year. And I just think that what we've seen from him, even though he hasn't played for Team Canada, which I'm personally thrilled about, because fuck Canada. That's right, Isha.
Yeah, the U.S. would have lost last year if he was on the team. But anyways.
This guy's just an absolute fucking gamer. And the fact that he went last in the second round and his teammate, who is arguably comparable to him, went, 17 to the Washington Capitals? Is that correct, Z? Check my work. Tarek Parashak, which, again, great player, but this one feels so much better because of how much of a steal it was, especially after, Z, I think you had him ranked 29 on your personal list going into that draft. It was somewhere right around that range, kind of the Ryder Ritchie feel, just with no injury. We can't explain why he fell. We're not going to complain. We are fucking thrilled. I am so excited for this guy to come in. And to be honest, he has already stepped in and filled one of my vacated Sun roles. I'm so happy. Riley Heidt, I want to see him really get a chance to make the roster this year. I don't think it's going to happen, but I at least want them to give him every chance to earn it.
Yeah, he was incredible. He's just such a good season. Prince George was a really good team, but he was obviously one of their best players. Just a power play machine, incredible playmaker, scored some pretty goals. I went to mentioned on one of the episodes, I went to day one of the development camp, and he was by far the best player out there. I mean, there was a couple others that looked good, but he was just incredible. His skating, everything, like all his drills were clean. He's just a fun player to watch. I'm super high on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. 117 points. I mean, doesn't matter what league you do that in. That's freaking impressive. I mean, there were stretches where he just seemed like guaranteed for like 3-point games. And then he would like have a night off where he wouldn't score a point and then would come back and score like 5 the next game. Yeah. Like he's insane. He has unbelievable playmaking ability. I think might be the best passer in the prospect pool. It's probably between him and you're off for that, but I think I lean Height on that. Like there was a highlight, I'm pretty sure I tweeted out at one point where he's like, I think they're on a power play and he throws a pass like half no look from the corner, like under like 3 sticks and through a pair of skates, like right on the tape to the guy in the back door who like ends up scoring. Like, and it was just like a little like quick look, put it right on his tape. Like he thinks the game so high already, like his IQ and his offense's own ability is all phenomenal. And I think as long as he can fill out and show that he's even like remotely competent defensively, he will find a way to make this team and be a really impactful player, I think, in the top 6 for a long time to come.
Yeah, no, just like you guys said, just a really, really skilled player, ton of fun to watch in a lot of the highlight clips. And I think like Hoppy was saying, with the potential for him to even get games in NHL this year. I mean, obviously he'll probably be back in junior, but it's kind of at a point with him with what he's done, even the 3 years he's been there. Like, what else more does he have to prove at that level, really? So I'm with you. I hope he does get a chance, but even if he doesn't, it's just it's he's just seems like he's pretty much seems to be a lock to be at least like a good second line forward, if at his absolute worst, which is pretty damn good for like you said, the last pick of the second round, and just he's great.
Yeah,
There isn't
to Zeke's point, and Isha, this will probably stem into part of what you probably want to say. This is the perfect example for why we need an exception to the bullshit CHL rules, because I understand why they're in place, partially to protect the CHL, whatever, but there's also a lot of guys that would be rushed up and it would go very poorly for their development. Riley Heidt has nothing more to prove or do at the WHL level. It's not looking the best for him to make the Wild roster. I still think there's a chance, but like, this is a guy that can and should be starting in the AHL and have a chance to work his way up to the NHL roster.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, there is nothing for him to prove anymore. Shoot, even in 2022, 2023, you could have said, all right, like, there's nothing much more for you to prove. And to go off of what Brett said as well, like, his IQ is insane. And it's awesome that he was able to play on two really good Prince George teams the last 2 years that was able to demonstrate that, because some of those crazy no-look passes, he had guys who were very, very skilled as well, who were able to get involved and read those plays of his as well. And, if he played maybe on a team that didn't have as many skilled guys, then we wouldn't have even seen that, and scouts wouldn't have seen that really either. So it is unfortunate that, like, if he doesn't make the Wild this year, if there isn't a spot for him, if he doesn't force the Minnesota Wild to maybe even make a move to make spots for both him and Öhgren, who have, Öhgren, sorry. Then I saw the message. I edited the podcast. I should have known. Then it's unfortunate. And I hope that there's no like complacency that comes into play there if he does have to be sent down to junior. But the one, I guess, positive thing is like he will likely be playing for the World Juniors, which there's something to play for there.
Why is that likely?
Because he's one of the best players for Canada under 20. Yep,
he was that last year too, and it didn't happen. And right now, the brain trust at the Athletics says he will not be part of it.
Well, they've listed him as an extra right now, whatever the fuck
that sounds
means.
Optimistic.
Yeah. So because you can't have the 16-year-old phenom and the team play over the two returnees, and they should.
I hope he's not there, because I'm already going to struggle with Matthew Wood playing for Team Canada, so I don't need any more conflict of interest.
Anyways, he's one of the sickest players I've seen in the WHL in a long time. I grew up in Prince George, so it's always awesome to see like players come out of that program. I mean, I grew up watching freaking Bugard play live as like a kid. I watched Dan Hamhuis play there. Well, I watched Bufflin play there too. So I just love like seeing guys like do well and come out of that Prince George system anyways. And the fact that he's part of the Minnesota Wild system and just an absolute stud who, like Hoppy said, is one of those exceptions who it's like should be playing pro but can't yet because of his age and being part of the CHL. I really, really hope and kind of lean towards the assumption that he's gonna force Billy Guerin to make a tough decision.
I mean, there's CHL exceptional status. Why can't we have AHL exceptional status?
Yeah, no, I agree. So I like I said, I hope he forces Billy Guerin and co and management to make a tough decision.
Z swoon.
Well, before I do that, in my head, it's the idea of I bet there are a total of 0 pro hockey players who would want AHL exceptional player status.
Well, I mean, he's not being paid in the CHL, so he's going to be paid, right?
Jerry Mayhew is foaming at the mouth.
Yeah. In my head, it's very funny where it's like, hey man, AHL exceptional status. They're probably like, fuck off.
Pro exceptional status.
Yeah, you have to, only because it's called A. Yeah, anyways. It is crazy. Again, like we said this a million times, the fact that this kid went last pick in the second round, despite the fact he was top 10 in scoring his draft year, 97 points in the WHL, which like already coming into this past year would have been like, if he puts up 90 points this year. That's also unbelievable.
Because he's
and he more
5'11".
than
He's not
surpassed
6
that.
foot.
Yeah, exactly. He is 4'2". Same thing. But like, and like one of the things that Brett you mentioned was like, even if his defensive game is like just average, he is a good two-way forward. Like that's the thing. Prince George didn't really have to play a lot of defense this year. They were pretty much eviscerating everybody. But this is a kid that like is absolutely on their first PK unit. He plays a really good two-way game, but his offensive ceiling is like top 6 point per game player in the NHL. Again, a guy that played center at the WHL. Whether or not he plays center at the NHL level, we'll see. I think he's probably more likely, given his skill set, to be a playmaking winger that is also an absolute sniper when he chooses to be. This year definitely relied on his playmaking a lot, which worked out quite well.
Relied on his playmaking, but got 37 goals. Like,
Exactly.
jeez.
Yeah. So, like, when he has the puck, you don't really know what to do because do we like make sure he doesn't get the shot off, or do we eliminate his passing options? But just the definition of a dual threat. And I mean, we've all touched on it already, pretty much every aspect of his game. So the last thing I'll say is for Zeke, he plays for the Prince George Cougars. Give us the best Cougar. You have,
Okay.
I don't know if he
Yes.
gets top.
yes. Oh,
A nice
A+.
deeper roar. I dig it.
That's
Yeah,
A+.
I can't
We
get
love
that.
No, I liked it.
I think the other thing that like we never really brought up is like in addition to all like the offense, he is also just kind of a pest and a pain in the ass. Like he likes.
He
to
is
get
an asshole to play against. Yeah,
He's
likes
a good
to-
skater too. No one
Yeah,
really
he-
mentioned like his skating is awesome.
He likes to get into scrums and mix things up and like kind of like that Eriksson Ek type. Like he's not like necessarily dropping the mitts, but he likes to get in people's faces, kind of piss them off, and then skate away. Like he's just kind of that
very,
pesky.
very fun to watch him score goals at away barns.
Oh yes.
He is. Yeah, no. In the old school WHL, you'd have a lot of fans jumping over the glass to fight him. He is not nice to away fans, and it is.
But like when every other goal that you score or are a part of is a highlight reel goal, you can do that. So
Second only to Phil Kessel for away game celebrations. That's still he's my favorite player because of that one celebration, and I'll never get over it. I also love Z's exploitation of the word eviscerating. It's just
It's good.
every time he says it, I just like light up a little bit. I'm like, oh yes, here we go.
Because we can all just like understand. We can all empathize. Be like, oh yeah, we know what you're talking
Empathize.
about.
There's no empathy there, but
That's kind of funny, though. I don't know exactly how
are
you
we
feel.
empathizing with the team that's being eviscerated? How often are you eviscerated, Isha?
I don't want to get into it.
He doesn't have
All right,
health
moving on.